next time I see that individual, we're going to buzz the tower, like I said before.
Period.
Up and in. Here we go.
Okay.
Showtime. A very pleasant good evening to you as we welcome you inside the Tower Grill on the campus of Arizona Christian University for the Storm Report season number 3, episode number 21. I'm your program host, Kevin Derryberry. My co-host is Ed Cole, and we are going to talk some softball right out of the gate. We're going to take it to the diamond, and we're going to talk with these two young ladies here who are already on set. Abbit Covalt will join us along with Dayna Herrera. We'll talk a little softball in our first segment, and then we'll turn our attention to the GSAC tournament. We'll turn our attention to the national tournament here in college basketball. Rusty Rogers will be on the main stage on tonight's program. Without further ado, good evening, ladies. Abby, how are you? Dayna,
hey.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure. Edward Cole down on the other end. How are you, sir?
KD, good evening.
Had some time off. We're refreshed, back with you here on this Monday night in our usual spot. And, ladies, let's start first right away. Let's start with Dayna, because Dayna has been kind of like thrust into the middle of the all the action. You now have a pretty significant role on the pitcher's mound here for ACU and Mike Maben. What's the new role like for you as you continue to trudge along here in this season?
It's been fun, just taking every moment in. I'm a freshman, so I have nothing to lose, and that's just been my mindset. Just go out there, have fun, do my best, and it's been working pretty well. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy, and I'm just having as much fun as I can.
A freshman making an impact, and we look at it like this, a 3.46 ERA. She's made 12 starts and 1 complete game, and most recently I think you pitched 4 scoreless innings in a conference game, and that had to be a nice lift for your team in that conference series against HIU.
Yeah, for sure. They were all super excited for me, and they were all always just patting me on the back, giving me high fives, and that just lifts me up as a pitcher, and just knowing that I have a great defense behind me, and it's just awesome.
I'll sneak one in here, Ed. For Abby, what's it like watching this young sensation, this freshman, making an impact here for your team this season?
Dayna is such a dog. I'm a really big fan. Just her whole personality has been such a blessing to the team, and the dabs are crazy, and she's so good at going back and forth between just an apex competitor and someone who can have a lot of fun, and I think that's a big part of our team culture, and I really love that about her.
I hope you ask about the dabs, please. The dabs.
Yeah. So, Dayna, let's stick on you. So, GSAC Player of the Week, freshman, you come in and you hit a grand slam, 6 RBIs, you get the win. What does that mean to you to get the GSAC Player of the Week and let your teammates and the entire country, the entire GSAC, and everybody that follows your softball team know that, wow, I'm here a freshman and I'm making an impact and I'm being honored for that, being Player of the Week?
Yeah, it was really important to me, and I just feel like I'm not playing for myself. I'm playing for my team, and I'm making an impact on Arizona Christian University softball, and I'm showing them to the nation, and obviously playing for Christ, and that's a big thing for me. So I just put that back on the team and Christ, and just not selfish play.
Dayna, do you remember the last time you won a game and had the impact that you had at the plate in one game? Have you had many of those in your career?
In club softball, club summer ball, yeah. I've always been a two-way, and so that's not like unusual for me. So I just try to do my best on both sides of the plate. So
an interesting thing about her, Kevin, she revealed to us this is her first time playing third base this year. Mm-hmm. So she's thrust into an even bigger role now.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I was always a shortstop growing up, so playing third base was new. I played a couple innings like here and there growing up, but it was never like a 7-inning game like it is now.
Abby, I'm curious for you because you have a very interesting story on how you arrived here on campus.
Yeah.
You were one of the few, maybe there's more of you that have been recruited by Mike Maben on more than one occasion, but you began your career at Southern Oregon.
Right.
And notably, you also played those young ladies earlier this season. So 2-part question. What was it like being recruited by Coach Maben 2 times? And then what was it like to see your old foes on the diamond and playing against them?
Yeah, I've always had a lot of respect for Coach Maben and just the way that he runs his program with a lot of love and a lot of energy. He's like one of the most athletic people I've ever met in my life, and just being in an environment where you're always moving and you're always hustling and you're just always competing has been something that I've grown up on and I really loved about him. And growing up, I've known Coach Maben since I was like 13, 14, and his wife actually played softball with my club coach of like 8 years. So they've been around and I've heard about them forever. But just I love their family. Taylor and Mia, their daughters, are really fun too. So just I've always been attracted to that environment and just the way that they run their team. So that's been a lot of fun.
I know the ladies and people that watch ACU softball on a regular basis know that Mrs. Maben also is very influential in this clubhouse. And so we often refer to Mr. Maben, Mike, the head coach, but his wife has just as much of an impact as Coach Maben does.
I love Coach Casey. She's so fun and so honest. She works with the first baseman a lot, so I spend a lot of time with Coach Casey, and she's a lot of fun. She's very sarcastic.
And she always brings us food.
She does always bring us food. I don't want to sell her out, but we did have donuts one day on the way to Embry-Riddle.
Oh, nice. Abby, what's it like? There's so many deadly hitters on this softball team. What is it like playing amongst all these young ladies that can knock the cover off a ball, like this young lady right here? What's it like being in an offense like this that is so prolific and that's so dangerous?
Yeah, we definitely are able to have a lot of hitters just in a row, which is cool because, you see a lot of doubles, you see a lot of run generation and just a lot of movement on the field. And we have a good lineup of hitters that are going to make something happen no matter what. So it's a lot of fun. And we, like Emily specifically, is just so much fun to watch. And she doesn't necessarily look like, the biggest girl in the field, but really just Emily and all of our hitters are competitive in the box.
And Kev, that's a recipe for success. If you can get these ladies that can hit the ball and young ladies like Dayna and Savannah and everybody else in the pitching staff can pitch the way they do, no wonder they're having this kind of success, Kev.
Yeah, I just look at it as like what kind of pitches that each one of you are seeing. We know about Claire Buckley. It's seemingly one of those lineups that you cannot pitch around, and I think that bodes well for you as you head into your next two. It's going to be a twin bill against Ottawa. What do you expect to take on the crosstowners here coming up, Abby?
From Ottawa, what are we expecting?
Yeah.
So I know they have a new pitcher, Riley Shop. She played for my dad over at Clackamas Community College. So I've seen her throw quite a bit.
Have you faced her before?
I've never hit off of her. I've just kind of seen her around and gotten to know her as a person. She's really sweet. But I know that she has a pretty good rise ball, screwball, and quite a bit of velocity that is very effective against a lot of hitters. But I think knowing our team will adjust well.
Dayna, if you could, put that velocity point in perspective for us. We see the radar guns at a big league stadium. We see 100 miles an hour. In softball terms, what are we looking at as far as if we were to see a gun or we were sitting behind some scouts and they're looking at some ladies, what kind of action on the ball do you have and how hard are you throwing?
Well, for me, I know I'm throwing like 58, 59 consistently. I'm hitting 60, but I know that the girls that throw harder, like Savannah, she's very effective, and she's topping out at 64, which is super, super good for us.
That's gas. We call it gas, right?
Yes.
Gas.
Velo.
Goodness, yes.
So, it just the velocity and the movement is what really gets you as a hitter. And so having both of those, having the spin on the ball and the velocity, that just makes it jump is just super, super effective.
And Dayna, seeing Savannah throw a no-hitter, what did that do for you?
That was awesome. Like, I look up to her. I think she's awesome. I think she's great. She's been a great mentor to me. And just working with her in the bullpen's awesome. And so seeing her success and just talking to her about what is she doing, what's the reason why she's doing what she's doing, and all of that is super cool. So I was super proud of her for that.
Over your 12 appearances this year, what are some things that you like to work on from game to game to get better from each appearance, each of those 12 appearances now that you're heading toward 13?
Definitely just keeping the ball down. I know that all of these girls in college are good, and so if I miss a little belt high or even above the knees a little bit, they're going to rope it. So I just think keeping the ball low is something that I need to work on, and I've been doing pretty well at that and just working on that at practice. And my pitching coach is very helpful with that, and she's always like, oh, that ball got roped in the bullpen. So it's nice to have that brutal honesty, because then I know I'm like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's been super nice to have her and Savannah who are helping me with working on things.
Sometimes they say that the truth hurts, right? That's just a little dose of reality.
Yeah.
It's part of the game, though. And as Mookie Betts would say, the other teams, the Padres drive Mercedes-Benz as well. So sometimes you can doff your cap to the opponent because they practice, they work hard. They've got kids on scholarship, so that's just kind of part of the process. I'm curious, as we're speaking with Dayna Herrera and Abbit Covalt, some softballers here for the Firestorm who have won 16 games already. They're 16-10 as they are in the middle of conference play. But I wanted to ask you, Dayna, about your chemistry with Miranda Hippolito, because Miranda seems like she might be the number one catcher, and Miranda is just like Mrs. Bopper with the stick, right? 420 batting average, still leads the club in home runs with 4. But what's the chemistry like that you two have when you're pitching to her?
She's awesome. We actually work a lot hitting together.
Okay.
And so we hit in the same group a lot. And so usually me, her, and Claire are like working on the same things, and like we're always doing the same thing that's wrong. And so this past weekend in particular, we both like weren't hitting the first game, and the second game, like we both started hitting line drives, and she's like, I didn't know our bats fell asleep together, but they definitely woke up together. And I love playing with her. She's a jokester, and she always just puts a smile on my face.
Two-part question. What are the things that you both are working on, and who also is the member of that hitting group that you take BP with?
Claire Buckley,
Okay.
for sure. So just
Sockers.
being with her, obviously, like no matter what, she's just always going to push you, and we're always helping each other. And so we're just working on keeping it simple, and instead of making too much movement and trying to produce too much power, just trusting our swing, trusting our muscle memory, and doing what we know how to do.
Abby, who are some teammates that you like to team up with and do some extra work with?
Extra work, I really love Micaiah. She's a freshman. She's just a lot of fun and just someone that I get along really well with. So she is always, as a DP, I'm not on defense, and I just come back from the dugout and hitting, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? And I know I can always look to Micaiah, and she'll always shoot me straight and tell me what's going on. So I really love working with her. But throughout hitting stations, I kind of move around. I switch up groups quite a bit. I never really have the same group. Sometimes I'm with slappers, which is just kind of fun. I don't know. I think I'm really good at slapping, but they don't agree, I guess. But,
You're speaking to Micaiah Wagner? Is that
yeah,
okay.
Micaiah, yeah.
Well, the slappers are very much part of the game of softball,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's all part of that cohesion that we have to have, right?
For sure.
Abby, the importance of communication in the dugout, how important is it for you and your teammates, your sisters, to all constantly be communicating during the course of a game?
Oh my gosh, I'm such a big loud dugout fan. You will always find me yelling or getting on people to start yelling, and just we're working on some cheers. We're trying to get some cheers going. I'm trying to bring it back to ACU. It's a lot of fun when you can just get everybody on board. But yeah, the dugout energy is huge. If we can all be kind of in the same area together, kind of supporting the same people, and just a lot of energy coming out of there, then we can definitely put more pressure on other teams' defenses and other teams' offenses. And I think it's a very critical part of softball.
Are either one of you two young ladies superstitious? Because you were
Just
talking
a little
about
stitious.
you were talking about staying in the same group, and then Abby's like, I can go wherever.
Man.
You're more of a nomad when it comes to hitting. You could do that, which is great.
After playing at Southern, I let go of all of that. Like the whole you have to swing the same bat every day. I exclusively took the bat from the biggest girl in my hitting group because she'd be hitting like tanks, and I'm like, oh yeah, give me that one. No, yeah, I'll take that too. Yeah, what is a 34 drop 8? Yeah, that's all me. Yeah,
Tanks.
Yeah.
Tanks are bombs, right? Tanks are bombs.
Yeah. Tanks,
Big
bombs.
flies, home runs. Okay.
Oh my goodness, Dayna, your conference, it's really tough. We were talking about it before we went on the broadcast. The importance again of proper hitting and proper pitching and proper defense to be able to stay competitive in your conference. Talk about that.
I think we really have to play a error-free game to win every game, and we have to hit the ball well, obviously, to generate runs, but defensively, we really have to play with no errors to win the game. And I think just playing freely and not playing tense and just being able to just have fun with it is a big thing. And we just can't let the moment get too big for us. And I think that's a big thing that we're trying to do.
Is it tough to toe that line, the balance of just going out there and having fun, and as you mentioned, going out there and knowing, wow, every one of these games are critical. I've got to be able to be locked in. I've got to make sure my girls are locked in around me, but at the same time, trying to have fun.
I think yeah, it's tough, but at the same time, we're all doing it together, and we all support each other 100%, and we have each other's back 1,000%. And so just being with my best friends out there just makes it so much easier and so much funner.
Best friends, Kevin. I like that.
Best friends, you can't go wrong with that at all. Oftentimes, you mentioned donuts earlier, Abby. What was the buzzword, right? What were the donuts? Were they Bosa, or are you going to come with it here? Was it legit
Last year
donuts?
I think it was just like a Hostess little bag of the chocolate covered
Oh.
ones.
So
we
the
ran
little-
that out.
The
Yeah.
little tiny ones.
The
Okay.
donut gems.
This year, though, we're strictly after game donuts.
Okay.
We've clarified that with Coach Maven after an experience this season. So post game donuts only.
Do they have a Krispy Kreme in Oregon? Or
It's like an hour and a half away from me.
that's a bit
yeah,
much.
I know. We have a lot of local bakeries though that are pretty legit.
we're going to pass on that one. I'm curious about Dayna. Her brother would be your big brother since you're just a freshman, right?
Definitely,
Big brother
yeah.
Johnny Herrera, huge impact last year on the football field for Jeff Bowen.
Yeah.
Was a tremendous kick returner, backup quarterback, punt returner, reliable. And I asked you before the program began, who's more competitive between you two, and what was your answer? So our fans, our global viewing audience, could learn this about the Herrera household.
We have 2 other siblings as well, and they're
Okay.
younger, and so all 4 of us just always going head to head. And I don't know who's more competitive. I think we've all been multiple sport athletes growing up, and we've all been right there battling with each other. I'm better than you at this. No, I'm better than you at this. I'm better than you at this. So I think both of us we just pushed each other growing up, and he's my biggest supporter now, and I think that's really awesome. But
That is cool.
yeah.
So you, Johnny, Jude, and Alyssa would go at it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think honestly, our littlest sister Alyssa, it's her birthday today actually.
Oh, happy birthday, Alyssa.
Happy birthday, Alyssa.
She's 12.
All right.
Queen.
But she's probably like the most feisty and most competitive, just growing up with 2 older brothers and an older sister, and so it's awesome. I love them, and they've always just been the best.
I asked Dayna if Johnny would put on a helmet, put on a hat, and get in the box, and what would happen. And Dayna thought that she'd serve one up to her brother Johnny. So I kind of was thinking that, you're going to, well, we talked about what I would do strategically, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a 3-pitch at bat. And it would be,
Communicated with the catcher.
yeah.
Right.
Anyway, we're excited to see what Johnny brings to the table next year. And so you got some young ones, 12-year-old Alyssa Herrera. Happy birthday again, Alyssa. Is
12, now
Alyssa
13?
play? Does she play softball?
Yeah,
as well?
she plays softball,
Okay.
she wrestles, she plays
Ooh.
basketball, she's a soccer player. She does it all.
All right, fantastic.
She's super good, yeah.
All right, birthday girl.
Wrestling's a new
12
one.
now 13 or 11 now 12?
She was 11, now 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one question, ladies. 7-9 at home, and 6-0, undefeated on the road. What's been one different aspect about going on the road outside of maybe the on-campus distractions? I'll start with you, Abby.
My first thought was the road Chipotle usually hits pretty hard.
The road
I don't know. I
Chipotle.
think
Okay.
Just the energy for our last.
Is that hit hard, like positive or negative?
Oh yeah, no, good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
free Chipotle just goes hard.
Oh,
no
you better
matter
believe
what. But yeah, I think just the energy. We had a lot of fun in the van ride. You got to make it. You got to make it a good time. So we were pretty fired up to go. Just spend a lot of time together and go compete and take it to some teams on their own fields.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. The van trips were so much fun. One to experience, for
I'm
sure.
going to the moon.
I can imagine,
How many vans? 2, 3?
Two.
2 vans.
Yeah.
I can imagine the conversations in those vans, Kevin.
Oh my gosh.
Sure. So much
Claire
fun.
Buckley.
I was in Claire Buckley's van with Christy Grove actually, and we got split up because we were too loud.
Yeah, no, we couldn't.
we were laughing way too much.
So, Dayna, who's in charge of the aux cord or the Bluetooth in the vans?
I was in Coach Casey's van,
Yeah?
and we kind of just we didn't even play music.
It's
No?
silent, man.
we-
We're so weird.
Too many stories
It's
to share.
just like what are we gonna play right now? That everyone's on board with, and we're just like I don't know what the vibe is. So
But,
and
at
usually
the-
it's so loud.
At
that
the
we're
same
like,
time,
what's the
though,
point?
we were all laughing, talking, screaming.
There's
so,
some acapella mixed in there randomly. Somebody just break into song, and we're like, that's what we're doing, and just drop whatever.
It seems like somewhere along the show, and we see multiple student athletes from one week to the next, and we'll always ask, who keeps the group kind of light? Is there one girl that kind of it just keeps everybody, with that positive vibe that you talk about, whether it's a joking sense or a little dose of reality that seemed to be funny, or is there anybody like that you could describe for us? Either one of you?
Claire
Claire or Jaden?
Claire and Jay up the
Yeah.
middle is just a lot of energy coming
Okay.
out of those two. They're definitely two very competitive people, but also just like they're always laughing and always
Cracking jokes.
We've had
Cracking
Jaden on the
jokes.
program before, the slick fielding Jaden
Yeah.
Miles, right? Second on the squad
Jay
in hitting.
Miles.
So, yeah. Good
Another
stuff.
dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Payne, how are we doing? We good? Fantastic.
let these girls go.
My last one for Abby. What is the biggest difference from being in a climate that there's a lot of precip? You mentioned you're from Oregon, and now you're out here. You get a lot of sunshine. What's it like for you, lifestyle-wise? You enjoying it?
I really love it out here
Do
so
you?
much. That was a big reason why I transferred, was just the sun. I needed a change of scenery. Oregon was kind of wearing on me, and I needed a new adventure coming off of just kind of a hard year. So the sun is wild. Spring training is awesome. And just
You've been out the ballpark?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Spring break, I went, I think once. I'm going again this weekend.
Well,
I'm pretty
ballparks
sure.
have attended. Ed's at one ballpark. I'm at another ballpark, so we're just curious if maybe you've been there.
I was at Camelback,
Okay.
White Sox, Diamondbacks last week, and then Talking Stick with the D-backs was my last one last year.
It's a great ballpark, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's just so wild being able to be on the fence with big league dudes, and you can just, I don't know. I like to chirp at them because I'm, weird and annoying, but
You like to participate verbally then?
active spectating,
Yeah.
sure.
Active
yeah.
spectating.
Yes.
We got
If that's what
tanks.
you
That's
call
a new
it.
one.
Tanks and active spectating. Always learning on this program.
Yeah.
That's the one
The
great thing
lingo.
about it.
Active verbal spectating.
Sure.
She's the freshman, Dayna Herrera. This is Abby Covalt, and both of these young ladies making huge impacts for Mike Maben and the entire coaching staff, and we've been delighted to have them visiting with us here on the program. Good luck against Ottawa. Good luck for the
Thank
rest
you.
of the season.
Yes.
Hopefully a national tournament berth is upon you, ladies. And speaking of national tournament berth, it's time to talk a little basketball with Rusty Rogers. Don't go anywhere. Rusty Rogers, straight ahead. We're going to talk women's basketball right here on the Storm Report.
All right, ladies, let's take a picture real quick. Leave them on.
Off?
On.
Oh.
Like off?
I
On.
lost one of my talons in the midst of that.
Oh, no.
Okay. We'll super glue her. It'll be fine.
We welcome you back inside the Tower Grill on the campus of Arizona Christian University. I'm Kevin Derryberry alongside Ed Cole, and the man in the middle is the head coach for Arizona Christian University, Rusty Rogers. And first and foremost, Rusty, we'd have like a drum roll for you. We'd have the cymbals, the whole thing, all the noise. And but congratulations, you have punched the ticket. You and your team, your ladies, have punched the ticket for the third time in program history for the NAI National Championship Tournament. That is quite an accomplishment. Congratulations, Coach. What's that
Thank
feeling
you.
like for you?
It's great. Took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take my fifth year, but it feels good nonetheless, for sure, to finally break through.
Well, it's your ninth time. I mean, putting it all together, first here as a member of the Firestorm, so it's got to be quite rewarding for you. It has been a process, and it's not easy, certainly, but you are here now.
Yeah, it's really rewarding. Just thinking back on the disappointments and some of the good things that have happened over the course of my time here. It's like the cultivation, the building block, and hopefully this will thrust us into greater things going forward. Especially considering, I mean, not that I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, at this point, but we got everybody returning, so it's going to be a really good experience for our kids.
Coach, going back to that win over Jessup, your first playoff victory here, obviously with the Firestorm, you were down 10 points after the first quarter, and things looked a little bit bleak there, but you stayed the course. That you and the ladies stayed your course, got the next three quarters, got the 11-point victory. What did that mean to beat Jessup and then move on to Vanguard? Just getting that first victory and just moving on in the postseason.
Yeah, that was a really big barrier that we had to break through. Not winning in the postseason at all in my 5 years here. And against Jessup, we lost overtime to them at their place when Alvarez had 46 points. And then at our place, we just didn't play really well, and we felt like we could show better. So we were really excited when we drew them in the tournament. And getting behind, I mean, it's been our MO all year. Not that we plan it, but we play well from behind. The kids don't quit, and that was another example of that. We played really well down the stretch and took control of that game and got the victory.
Coach, even though it was a tough defeat in that tournament, Vanguard, another nemesis, obviously in the conference play, but you finished 7-7 this year, and that's a really hard-fought 7 victories. That's got to kind of help your team be prepared for this next season, which you know that it's going to be ultimately gritty, and you're going to have to play your best basketball at this point in the season.
Yeah, the conference was from top to bottom. Russ Davis at Vanguard's been in the conference for 28 years, and he said this was the best he's had that he's seen from top to bottom. Maybe not the most prolific team in the conference, but just from top to bottom, it was really, really competitive. And going 7-7 it doesn't sound great, but it was a lot of work to get there. And we lost 2 overtime games with those 7 losses. So we were in a lot of games and played Vanguard really, really tough twice, and just ran out of gas at the end both times. So getting them in the playoffs again, I thought we could do it. The old adage is it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Well, they beat us 3 times. So, it was a very good conference. I think our conference will fare well in the Nationals. We have 5 teams.
5 teams, and that's what my next point would be, is that's indicative of the conference and how deep it was. 5 teams that all have a chance. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. From what I hear from the committee members, they ranked the GSAC as the 3rd toughest conference in the country for women's basketball. So that's kudos to us to hang in there in a very difficult conference. And then our non-conference schedule was brutal. When you looked at our complete schedule, we played 5 games against top 10 teams. 5 games against top 10 teams in the country. And that's really what helped us get that at-large bid. Is our schedule is the 13th toughest, I think, in the country. So I took the advice of some people around that load up the schedule and it's going to help you in the long run. It did.
Battle tested, Ed.
Yep. Through 30 games, Coach, you've got to be proud of your ladies for persevering through those 30 contests, and you're getting ready to go up to Montana to face Reinhardt on Thursday, on the 15th. For you're gonna hit the tournament. How proud again are you of your ladies to come to this point, and now you're in the tournament?
Yeah, the whole story of the season, it'd be much too long for me to talk about, but with injuries and there's been family issues with individual players, it's been one of the toughest seasons that I've ever coached, and this was season number 40 for me. Literally everybody in our starting 5 was injured at some point in time during the course of the season. We come back after the GSAC playoffs, and we have an ankle injury. The first practice back, and then the second practice we had another girl injure an ankle, and today we had a girl fall down, and I'm like, okay, I can't see. I just turned my back and then said a quick prayer. It's just, I don't know. We've been snake bitten. It's been really tough, but it's made us what we are as a team, and that's one of the reasons why we can play from behind, because we've been through all kinds of adversity this year. And the girls, I'm extremely proud of the girls, how they just keep fighting and keep fighting.
Coach, I know that it seems like each time you're on, we talk about a couple different players, and I know we could talk about Emily Till and Lauren Gunn and so many more. Sometimes we run out of superlatives for Alyssa Alvarez, but when you look at her just in a snapshot approach, it feels like any time that you step on the court with Alyssa that you have a chance to win that night. You get one of those 46-point nights, whatever the case may be. It just seems like other teams in this tournament, maybe like Reinhardt, when they look to see the weapon that you have in Alyssa Alvarez, that they've got to be aware, because it could be one of those nights and they could be the victim.
Yeah, she's unbelievable, the nights that she gets it going. And the thing about her, too, that the average person wouldn't even recognize is she just draws so much attention. And in the course of the game, especially when she's on the offensive end, I'm speaking of. But we've got some kids around her now that she can facilitate the ball to, and they're going to come through for us. And we didn't have that her first couple of years here in our program. So I feel like we're getting better around her as well. But she definitely is the straw that stirs the drink for sure. She just makes so many things happen, and she's so unselfish. And, she became the all-time leader in program history in assists this year. And, that's a deadly combination when you have a great scorer who also can make plays. And that's Alyssa. She's tremendous talent.
Got to appreciate that, a facilitator as well as a scorer.
Oh, yeah. Coach, two important things. Being able to hit free throws. You saw that against Jessup. You had 8 of 10 in the fourth quarter, 20 points of your 26 in the paint in the second half. How important are both of those going to be starting this week when you play Reinhardt? Those two have to be critical pieces of your basketball team if you want to move on.
Yeah, that's a stat that we look at every single game at halftime and post game, is how many times we're getting to the line. And I believe, and my philosophy is that's a sign of aggressiveness. If you're going to get to the line, you're probably being pretty darn aggressive on the offensive end, and that's what we want to be. We want to get to the line 20 times a game at minimum if we can. And if you look through all the box scores of the season, I mean, some of the games that we didn't play well, we didn't get to the line very often, and we kind of settled for that 3-point shot, and settled for that perimeter shot. So that was a key. And we knew with Jessup, I think they had committed the most fouls all season long per game. And so that was definitely part of our game plan, was get the ball to the basket. If you're not going to score, you got a good chance to get to the free throw line. And fortunately for us, that game, we were able to knock them in, like you said.
Coach, what is it about the fourth quarter that your team seems to kind of rise to the occasion, whether you've felt and dealt with adversity coming from behind in so many games, but that fourth quarter, you've outscored your opponent 586 to 515. It just seems like maybe you've had your backs up against the wall, but you've answered the challenge in late stages of ball games.
Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to kill me or what, but no, they do. They really do handle the fourth quarter situation really, really well, and we don't have as much depth as we've had in past years. So you would think just the opposite, because the kids are getting more minutes. I've never had a player average over 30 minutes a game. And this year I think we had 3 or 4 of them that averaged over 30 minutes a game. But to their credit, again, they're able to, rise to the challenge, like you said. And there's no fear in this team. They just have such a confidence and a faith in themselves and a confidence in their teammates. And that's where it really manifests itself, is in that fourth quarter and crunch time when the game's on the line. And our kids have really come through in the fourth quarter, like you said. I mean, it's been like that all year long.
That's clutch, Coach. We'll take clutch.
Yeah, clutch.
Yes. So, Coach, we mentioned this is your 9th NAIA National Championship. Is there anything special or anything that you've relayed to your ladies to get them prepared for this next step in the postseason? Because it's another one of those steps in the rung toward getting a national championship. Yeah,
the big thing for me and our players is focus. I mean, it's really easy to lose focus at this stage of the year. We've been going at it for 7 months. I mean, that's crazy. And we're tired, and we're tired of each other a little bit, and we're tired of practicing and those kinds of things. But, at the very beginning of the year, our goal was to get a bid to the national tournament. That was our number one goal. We knew it was going to be difficult to win the conference. We felt like we actually said this to the players. We have a better chance of getting to the national tournament than we do of winning the GSAC. So don't get discouraged. 7-7 in the conference. Our ultimate goal is still there, and we were able to achieve it. But that's where it can be a little bit crazy, because you've achieved your goal. Well, let's get to the next level now. Let's get prepared for that first game, and that's been kind of tough. I mean, we haven't had the greatest practices since we got the bid, to be honest with you. I think getting that focus back and that drive. We're not done yet, and don't be satisfied. So that's been the big message from me. And we got one more practice before we take off to Montana, and hopefully it'll be a good one. We had a decent one today, so we'll see.
Coach, take us through the moment when you learn that you're going to take your team to play Reinhardt in that first round. Describe the elation and describe the scene for us, if you could.
Yeah, I had the team over at my house.
Okay.
For the watch party. And
so this is Paradise Valley, Camelback Mountain,
not quite.
Poolside, lagoon pools all over the place. It's quite a place, right?
Something like that. But we had a nice spread of food for them, and
nice.
Then 6 o'clock rolled around, and we got in front of the television, and the very first bracket, they're calling the names of the teams, and I'm like, I had found out. I got to reveal that I have found out about an hour beforehand, but I had to fake it because I was so nervous. So I know these kids were so nervous, so I had to fake it, and I tried to do my very best James Dean imitation. But the funnest thing was when I heard the Firestorm, that's how they introduced it. I looked at the players, and I just had tears come down my eyes. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience just to see, that they, my first thing was like, wow, yeah, they really do care. I mean, they were jumping on top of each other and screaming and yelling. And fortunately for us, it was the first bracket that that was introduced, so we didn't have to wait around. It would have really been nerve-wracking if that would have been. But yeah, and I wish, in some sense, I feel like we backed our way in because we didn't win the conference, we didn't win the conference tournament. But looking back on the season, and kind of what we've been talking about since I got here today is we challenged our team, and we did a pretty good job. We won 18 games with a really difficult schedule. So, I'm thankful that there's an at-large system to it, and I'm thankful that the selection committee recognized our schedule.
Coach, let's make sure that we're on the same page. You guys did not back in on this thing. For one, you play people, and you're going to be rewarded for that, and you did that. You played some of the top programs in the country. Payne Moses put together some numbers for us in a historic context. You scored 2,227 points. It's third most in program history.
Oh, really?
So that's huge. You made 229 triples, second most in program history. That's an accomplishment. And then I like to say, sharing the sugar, 426 assists, second in program history. You guys made huge inroads playing great competition. And I think 7-7, 500 in this conference that you said is the third best conference voted on by our peers. That's respect, Coach.
Yeah. I didn't realize those numbers, but the competitiveness of myself. I want to win the title and get that automatic bid, and But there's been, national champions in the history of college basketball that come out of an at-large situation. So, there's a lot of merit to what you said, for sure. And I'm just really appreciative that the committee recognized us.
So, Coach, you're going to face Reinhardt out of Georgia on Friday up in Montana. They had a great season this year, 26-3. Unfortunately, they didn't win their tournament, the AAC tournament. But what have you seen from Reinhardt, and what are you seeing from them on tape, and how are you preparing for them?
Yeah, probably my biggest fear is just they know how to win, obviously. They were 23-0 at one time. So they've kind of hit a little bit of a lull. They've won 3 of their last 6 games to finish out 26-3. So that's kind of encouraging, knowing that they're beatable. And then watching tape on them, I've watched 5 or 6 games already, complete games. I feel like we can compete with them. I feel like we can. I'll put it right out there. I'll be really disappointed if we don't win that first round game. I'll be very disappointed. I just feel like for reasons that you alluded to, our conference is so tough, and we go to war every time we have a game. The 2 teams that didn't make our conference tournament are darn good teams, and they didn't even make our conference tournament. So, we've really been through the test, and I feel like we're battle tested, like I said, and their conference just isn't anywhere near the GSAC, the Appalachian Conference. So, and I know that from, playing in the East, coaching NAI ball in the East in the early part of my career, and it's kind of been that way consistently. But again, the biggest fear is they know how to win. That team knows how to win. When you win 26 games in one season, that says something. So, it'll be an upset if we win, no doubt. They're 7 seed, we're a 10 seed, but I'd be disappointed if we didn't win that first game.
We're speaking with head coach of the AAC women's basketball program as they punch their ticket to this year's national tournament. Coach, what has to go right for you to come away with a victory in that first one against Reinhardt?
Yeah, we got to get our kids healthy. Today in practice, we got 3 girls that practice maybe half the practice, just injuries. So we got to have them on the floor. Mm-hmm. And, I think they'll be ready. We've been trying to transition them into practice slowly, and I'm just worried about their conditioning because they haven't gotten a lot of minutes in practice. Mm-hmm. We got to be healthy first and foremost, and secondly is we got to get into the moment and make sure that we play every possession like it's our last possession and not look ahead, not look behind. I mean, we're there, and that's the hardest thing. I know I coached a couple national championship teams in the NAI tournament, and you got to win 5 games in 6 days back in those days. And, man, getting that team focused every game, and, one mistake, you lose, you're done, and that whole mentality is you got to play every possession like it's the last possession in a tournament like that. You can't have an off day, or you're done. You're going home. So, we got to really get our focus, and I don't think we're there right now, to be honest with you. I just, we got a couple days here to get it back. But these injuries that we're going through just they're so distracting to our team. They stop practice. We got to carry a person off the court. I mean, it's happened our last 3 practices. And it's hard to get going again with the team, and they lose focus. But I'm confident we can get it. We just got to stay healthy. When we're healthy, man, we're good. We're really good. We just haven't had everybody healthy all at one time.
The importance of your bench, depending on this health situation, how important will your bench be for the ladies coming off the bench and for them to play at the same energy level as the starters would?
That's critical, especially the style that we play. We're going to play fast. Against Reinhardt, my big thing is I want to play fast against them, and I want to pressure all 94 feet. So to do that, I'm going out on a limb. I'm going on a limb in terms of, our bench is going to have to produce because they have to play. Nobody can play 40 minutes at that kind of a pace that we want to play. So, and I believe that at this point in the season, our freshmen are no longer freshmen. We've got 4 freshmen on varsity, and, they've proven that they can play at this level. They just haven't had a lot of experience, but, over 30 games, they've been through it, the rigor. So I consider them sophomores at this point. So I'm not afraid to go to them, and I believe the kids have confidence too. I mean, because of the injury factor, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise. I think we've had, I don't know how many different starting lineups we've had over the course of the season, but there's a lot of kids that, when everybody's healthy, they're not going to start, but they have been starters, so they've had that experience, and it could really make a difference here in this playoff situation, the tournament.
Coach, my last 2. My first one is going to be: will you approach this game differently as far as your attire, your wardrobe? Will you have on a coat and tie for this one? Will you be in your traditional look? What do you think some of the peers will be wearing? Like, how do you plan on coaching this one?
Yeah, I might pull out a couple of my superstitious stuff. I have Pistol Pete Maravich socks that I've had them in the drawer all season long.
Coach, pack them.
Yeah, I agree. They need to be out there on my feet underneath those pants this time. Last game in the GSAC, I went up. We won that first round game, the first one the school's ever won at the GSAC tournament, I believe. I don't think we've ever won in women's basketball at the GSAC tournament. So we won that game, and the second game, I went up to one. I shouldn't even be telling this story, but oh well. I went up to one of the officials and I said, if you get a kind of an odor over our way when you're standing in front of the bench, it's probably me, because I haven't changed my underwear, I haven't changed my socks, I haven't changed anything because I'm superstitious.
Yeah, you should have told that story.
Yeah, I should have told that story. My wife
TMI.
Yeah. But
Now, Rusty, I figured maybe you'd go double-breasted, full-blown suit, custom tailored, and kind of send a little different message. Like, Coach means business. He does not ever wear that inside the event center or on the road. So I was thinking that. And my last one would be, if you could describe the chemistry and some of that cohesion that you've developed with your staff this year when we talk about Adam and Taylor and Brooke Polite, who used to play for you, things like that. What's the chemistry been like with your staff, and have you guys learned some things from one another?
It's pretty cool to see how everything has evolved. So Adam, Rhonda have been with me from the beginning here, 5 years, and the first year we were kind of just picking and choosing who does what and that kind of thing, and people have settled into really nice roles, and it definitely made a difference this year. So Adam, for example, is our offensive coordinator, and I turn the offense over to him, and it allows me to focus on defense. Rhonda takes care of all our arrangements, so she's busy obviously this week, getting the airplane reservations, hotel, and all that stuff, so she takes care of that. Taylor played for me in Chicago before I came here for 4 years, so she knows me like anything. She's my daughter's best friend, and she's just really been great with the players because she's still at that age where she can relate to them. And obviously Brooks the same way. It's really been, and then we've added Clint Valley this year, a guy who's actually older than me. So that was kind of nice to have somebody older than me on the staff, but he he has this great sense of the game, and he's been around a long time. He's a high school coach in Oregon for a lot of years, and he's done our skill development. So everybody's kind of found their niche, and it's really been a real nice cohesive effort by our staff this year.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Coach, last one from me. I wanted to get your thoughts. You'll be up in Montana battling Reinhardt. The men will be down here battling St. Catherine on Friday night as well. I wanted to get your thoughts on the men hosting the first and second round of the NAIA tournament, the success that the men are having.
Okay, so, it can never be understated what Coach Rudder's done with this program. It's been unbelievable. And I've been around a long time, for 40 years, and they just, this year, they had some things they had to sort out, especially early in the year. And Coach Rudder and I talked about this, and he just does such a great job of developing a team, getting their roles established and excel. He is an amazing coach. This university is so blessed to have him here. Wow, he's been phenomenal. I think they got a chance to surprise a lot of people. They've surprised me this year. I didn't think they had what it took with what they lost in graduation and that kind of thing, but they're playing now at a level that's pretty darn high. To win the conference and then win the tournament in the same season, it just doesn't happen at any level that much anymore. Again, he's done a phenomenal job, and his players have really responded. I wouldn't be surprised to see a nice Final Four run for them. So I'm hoping that's anything they can do to help get our name out there is going to help everybody around, and all the sports.
Absolutely. He's Rusty Rogers, and he is the women's basketball coach, and they are on their way to play in the national tournament for the third time in program history. And for this guy right here, 40 years. If someone came in and said, Coach, we're looking to hire a coach, but we're looking for 41 years of experience, you would just miss it by a year. Can you imagine that? So we're glad that you've been here you've been around for 40 years doing your thing, and it's great that you've been able to, work your family into that, and your daughter and your best friend, and just a great story. And now it's a winning story, and we're proud of you, Coach, and your ladies, and it's a lot of fun to have you on the show tonight.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Always enjoy spending some time with you guys. Thank you.
Congratulations,
and,
Coach.
Last thing, the Cleveland Guardians, that's your baseball team, and we've got hope and optimism for them. No Tito for the first time in a while, so that's going to be different.
Yeah.
But are you a big Jerry Jeudy guy? Because he's on his way to Cleveland. If you go.
I saw that. Yeah. For the Browns. Yeah, definitely. I think the Browns are gearing up for a big-time run next year, so look out.
It'll be a lot of fun. That's the head coach of the AC women's basketball program, Rusty Rogers. We also want to thank Dayna Herrera and Abbit Covalt, and it's been a fun show. Special thank you to Tim Gosen, Payne Moses, the guys that get it done behind the scenes, and, of course, my broadcast partner, Ed Cole. I'm Kevin Derryberry. Until next time, so long for now.
Let's get a quick pick, Coach.
I'm sweating under here.
Thank you.